Do you remember when I told you about this book, The Survivor's Club? The Secrets in Science That Could Save Your Life. It's a great book. It shows how people react in life-threatening situations. He was looking for what is it that causes people to be a survivor. And what he found is that there's really three kinds of people. There's the 10% over here of people, and 10% of people over here, and then 80 is in the middle. This 10% will tell you, you got to come over here quick. This one will tell you to go the other direction. The average person has to decide which one they believe, which has the right course of action. 80% are in the middle. The greatest example of this in our lifetime probably is 9/11, the Twin Towers. You had 10% of the people saying, let's get out of here now. Come on, get out of behind your desk. The other 10% said, oh, you know, Bill's always freaking out. It's going to be fine. What? It's just an airplane. It was only those people in the 80% that got up immediately and listened to that crazy person on the floor, got up and got out of the building, who rejected the voice of authority coming out of the speakers in the ceiling, saying, everything's going to be fine. It's just an airplane. Stay in your office. They got out. Now, you're not the 80%. You're 10%. If you commit to lead. But there's more. You have to be the 10% who lead in the right direction. Now, if you think you're not qualified to lead, you're wrong. Because the true mark of a leader is not what power you have, how sexy you are, how much money you have. The true mark of a real leader is rather what you do not have, and that is ego. Ego, arrogance, and self-interest. Leaders have a heart that is dedicated to service, a calling greater than themselves. You must be that 10%. It's boot camp right now. Because there is that other 10% leading people in another direction, and that direction will be revolution. Something else we learned from the 1960s, Bel Air's Malcolm X had something in common besides their violent tactics. They lost because of their violent tactics. MLK, on the other hand, won. Why? Well, I contend it's on the t-shirt. I am a man. They demanded to be treated as individuals, but more importantly, they demanded that anyone with them must also treat everyone as a man. They understood that two wrongs don't make a right, no matter what had happened to them. Martin Luther King had them sign a pledge. These are original copies of the pledge and of the March on Washington from August 28th. This is the pledge he had people sign. Have them sign this pledge and follow this commitment. We'll have more on this coming up in this episode. This is step number 1. All of it is focused on love. Wait a minute, restoring love. Although you could easily argue they had justifiable reason to lash out, he made his followers commit to living to a higher standard and to treat those who hated them and even physically assaulted them with dignity that they so desperately sought. The answer? Love always wins. It's no different today. So I want to leave you with step 1. Step 1. Commit. How do you do that? Well, in step 1, let me give you the 4 steps. Because that's all I'm going to give you from here on out, I swear to you. I'm going to give you 4 things to remember, because that's enough. So, tonight, it's this. You have to live to a higher calling. You have to be better than you were yesterday or the day before, and you have to be better tomorrow than you are today. You have to take Martin Luther King's pledge of nonviolence. Find it at glennbeck.com, and I want you to sign it. 2, no finger pointing. Why do you think Obama's poll numbers are plummeting? because he always is blaming somebody else. Always. When Obama ran in 2008, he ran on hope. But leaders, real leaders, don't point fingers. They don't say it's his fault. It's his fault. That's different than saying, hey, you know what these people are doing over here? But they're not the fault. We have to be the shining city on the hill. We have to be different. We have to be the group of people that live it, really, truly live, and be better. Because in the end, when panic comes, we'll be the people that say, that others say, you know, I want to be like them. I think I want to stay with them. Third one on committing is personal responsibility. I introduced these to you last year in Jerusalem. Enjoying freedom isn't enough. We have the right to honest and good government, and so I'm going to seek out honest and just representatives when possible. If I can't find it, then I accept the responsibility to take that place. If you believe that you have the right to pursue your dreams and keep the fruits of your labor, then we have the responsibility to feed, protect, and shelter your family, the less fortunate, the fatherless, the old and infirm. Those two responsibilities are paramount. I got to vote for the right people, and if the right people aren't there, I got to be those people. And if I believe that I want a small government, if I believe I can keep the fruit of my labor, I have got to be involved. All of these, again, available at glennbeck.com. And then the last piece is, for me, the hardest one. But I think this is extremely difficult to find in today's world, find joy and be helpful. It's hard for me. I mean, I guess it's hard in today's society unless you're a cannibal. Because then you're like, I mean, if you're a cannibal, how do you not find hope and joy in today's world? You're like, wait a minute, other people want to eat people too? This is fantastic. But let's just say you're not a cannibal. By Thursday, I promise you, you are going to find hope and joy. The next 3 days, you will understand, if we do this together, we'll change the course of our country's history. These things will win. But you have to commit to being a better person tonight. I have to do it with you. To commit means to pledge or engage oneself. It's time to pledge and then engage, which happens to be a verb. Welcome to day number 1, the new chapter of GBTV, a network that is a verb.